Welcome, fellow seekers of wisdom. Today we embark on a transformative journey through the timeless teachings of Stoic philosophy. Imagine a journey so profound, it changes not only how you see the world, but also how you see yourself. Stoicism is not just an ancient practice. It's a living, breathing guide to help you navigate the complexities of modern life, to transform fear into courage, excess into balance, and confusion into clarity. It challenges us to examine our beliefs, to see beyond the illusions our mind creates, and to find true tranquility amidst chaos. Consider this: we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. These words, penned by the great Stoic philosopher Seneca, cut to the core of our daily struggles. How often do we find ourselves trapped by the prison of our own minds, overthinking every detail, paralyzed by imagined fears, consumed by desires that leave us empty? We construct scenarios that never happen, living in a future that is uncertain or a past that no longer exists. The Stoics taught us that freedom lies in the present moment, and it is there that we must reclaim our lives. Today we'll explore the four Stoic vices: foolishness, injustice, cowardice, and intemperance. And more importantly, learn how to transform them into the virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. This is more than philosophy. It's a roadmap to living well, especially when the world feels uncertain. Chapter 1. Overcoming mental traps. Imagine you are about to give an important presentation. Your palms sweat, your heart pounds, and worst of all, your mind becomes your worst enemy. It pictures failure, stumbling over words, seeing the look of disappointment in your boss's eyes. But hasn't this scenario played out countless times in your mind before? Yet how often does it become reality? More often than not, these fears are baseless. They are a product of our imagination, not our true experiences. This is what Seneca meant when he said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. We often magnify minor challenges, and in doing so, we let our fear distort our perception of reality. Foolishness, in the Stoic sense, isn't about a lack of intelligence. It's about acting without wisdom, making decisions based on fleeting emotions or false impressions rather than reason. Picture you're scrolling through social media, comparing your ordinary Tuesday to everyone else's highlight reel. Suddenly you feel inadequate, and an urge grows to buy something, anything, to fill that void. Deep down, you know no purchase will ever be enough. This is the folly of letting our imagination run wild, of allowing ourselves to be led by shallow desires. We forget that appearances are deceptive, that what we see on social media is a curated version of reality, not the full picture. The Stoics called these irrational behaviors foolishness. The good news is that recognizing these vices is the first step toward transforming them. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Imagine that. True power comes from within, not from trying to control the chaos around us. The more we understand that our mind is the source of our power, the more we can find peace and strength regardless of external circumstances. Take, for example, Epictetus, who was born into slavery yet became one of the greatest philosophers of all time. His external circumstances were harsh, yet he taught that the mind can be free regardless of the body's captivity. When you're stuck in traffic and your mind is raging, "I'm going to be late. My boss will be furious." Logically pause and ask yourself, are these thoughts helpful? Are they based in reality? Or am I letting my imagination turn a minor inconvenience into a catastrophe? The Stoics urge us to differentiate between what is in our control and what is not. You cannot control the traffic, but you can control your reaction to it. This is where true freedom lies. To overcome foolishness, the Stoics advise several practices. Negative visualization. Regularly imagine losing the things you value, not to invite misery, but to appreciate them more deeply and prepare yourself for life's inevitable changes. By considering the fragility of life, we cultivate gratitude for what we have now and lessen our dependency on externals. 2. Focus on what you can control. Life constantly presents us with things we can't control. Distinguish between what you can change and what you cannot, then put your energy where it counts. This shift in focus brings clarity and reduces unnecessary suffering. 3. Question your impressions. When strong emotions arise, pause and examine them. Is this truly as terrible as it seems? What would a wise person do in this situation? By questioning our initial reactions, we can choose a response that aligns with our values. 4. Cultivate mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts and emotions without immediately reacting. Create space for wisdom to guide your actions. Mindfulness allows us to step back and observe rather than get caught up in the chaos of our thoughts. Consider a scenario from my own life, a moment when my emotions nearly led me down a foolish path. I was once upset with a close friend over something they said. My first instinct was to respond defensively. Instead, I paused and reflected, what am I truly upset about? Are my thoughts based on reality, or am I projecting my insecurities? With that awareness, I was able to have a calm conversation with my friend that led to a deeper understanding rather than an unnecessary conflict. The practice of stepping back, of questioning our emotional impulses, is a powerful tool in overcoming foolishness. The key to overcoming foolishness is recognizing when our emotions distort reality. Practice stepping back from impulsive thoughts, reflecting on them with curiosity instead of judgment. As Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This realization is the first step toward freedom, the understanding that while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. Chapter 2. The Power of Fairness. Now let's delve into the next Stoic vice, injustice. Injustice in Stoicism isn't just about breaking laws or treating others unfairly. It's about ignoring the interconnectedness of all human beings. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, what's bad for the hive is bad for the bee. When we act unjustly, we harm not just others, but ourselves and the community. Justice for the Stoics is not simply a legal concept. It is the recognition of our shared humanity. Imagine you're in a meeting and a colleague takes credit for an idea you had shared in confidence. A wave of anger rises within you, the urge to call them out, to reclaim what's yours. But what if, instead of reacting impulsively, you paused and considered the larger picture? Could there be a way to address this issue that maintains your integrity and the harmony of your team? Justice is not about demanding what we believe we are owed, but about acting in a way that contributes to the greater good. Socrates, another influential figure in Stoicism, was wrongfully accused and sentenced to death. He had the opportunity to escape but chose to stay, saying, "The difficulty, my friends, is not in avoiding death, but in avoiding unrighteousness." This act of accepting injustice, not out of weakness, but out of a commitment to his principles, exemplifies Stoic justice. Socrates understood that compromising his integrity would be a greater harm than facing death. The Stoics believed that to overcome injustice, we must cultivate empathy, fairness, and focus on our own integrity rather than retaliating out of spite. 1. Empathy. Before judging others, try to understand their perspective. What might have motivated their actions? Often, what appears to be malice is simply ignorance or fear. By understanding others, we can respond more compassionately. 2. Practice fairness. Be just in your daily interactions, even in small things. Are you patient with those who serve you? Do you listen to others with an open mind? Justice begins with the small acts we perform every day. 3. Separate actions from character. When wronged, remember that others may act out of ignorance rather than malice. By recognizing that everyone is fighting their own battles, we can avoid taking things personally. 4. Seek the common good. Consider how your actions benefit not only yourself, but also your community. Stoic justice is about the welfare of the whole, not just the individual. Let me share an example. I once worked on a team project where a colleague consistently dismissed my suggestions. At first, I felt angry and undervalued. I wanted to retaliate or simply disengage. Instead, I took a step back and tried to understand where they were coming from. I realized they were under immense pressure from management, and their behavior was a reflection of their own stress and insecurity. Instead of reacting with anger, I chose to offer my support. This not only improved our working relationship but also helped our team succeed. Justice is about seeing beyond our immediate emotions and choosing a response that benefits the greater good. Chapter 3. Finding Inner Strength. The third vice is cowardice, a fear that holds us back from doing what we know is right. Cowardice isn't just physical fear, it's letting any fear of judgment, failure, or discomfort, prevent us from acting with integrity. It's the hesitation we feel when we know we should speak up, but don't. It's the avoidance of difficult conversations because we fear confrontation. Think of a time you hesitated to voice an opinion, worried about what others might think. I recall an experience in a workplace where I knew a new process would significantly improve efficiency, but I hesitated to bring it up, afraid of stepping on toes. In hindsight, it was cowardice that held me back, the fear of potential conflict. I allowed my fear of others' opinions to override my sense of what was right for the team. Marcus Aurelius, despite his role as Emperor of Rome, wrote daily about the importance of courage. Facing not only political challenges but also personal losses, he reminded himself that strength comes from within. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Courage for the Stoics is about staying true to our principles, even when it is uncomfortable or frightening. To cultivate courage, the Stoics suggest: 1. Embrace discomfort. Deliberately face small fears, like public speaking or challenging tasks. Each time we face discomfort, our capacity for courage grows. The more we push ourselves beyond our comfort zones, the more resilient we become. 2. Act despite fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action despite fear. Whether it's having a difficult conversation or making an unpopular decision, choose action over avoidance. Courage is built one small step at a time. 3. Focus on values. Define your values and use them as a compass. Courage is about staying true to what's important, even when it's hard. When we are clear about our values, we can face fear with confidence, knowing that we are acting in alignment with what truly matters. Let me share another example from my life. There was a time when I needed to have a difficult conversation with a friend who had hurt me deeply. I feared confrontation and the possibility of losing the friendship, but I knew that avoiding the issue would only cause more harm in the long run. Summoning the courage to speak openly and honestly, I was able to resolve the conflict and strengthen our bond. Courage is not about avoiding fear, it's about facing it one step at a time. Chapter 4. Embracing balance. Lastly, we arrive at intemperance, a vice that plagues many of us today. It's the inability to find balance, the indulgence in excess, whether it's food, drink, shopping, or even work. Imagine coming home after a long day, stressed and exhausted. You sit down, scroll through social media, and are suddenly overcome with the urge to buy something you don't really need, as if buying it could solve your problems. We live in a culture that encourages excess, that tells us more is always better. But the Stoics remind us that true contentment comes from within. The Stoics taught that happiness isn't found in material things or indulgence, but in self-control and balance. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Craving leads to discontent, whereas contentment leads to tranquility. Intemperance is the constant chasing of pleasure, the belief that happiness lies just beyond the next purchase or indulgence. But true happiness lies in the ability to be content with what we have, to find joy in simplicity. Here's how we can cultivate temperance. 1. Voluntary discomfort. Practice small acts of self-denial to build discipline, like fasting or cutting back on social media. By choosing discomfort, we remind ourselves that we do not need constant pleasure to be happy. 2. Gratitude. Be thankful for what you have. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. It helps us see that we already have enough, that we do not need more to be happy. 3. Reframe desires. When you feel the urge for something unnecessary, ask yourself, is this truly necessary? Will this bring lasting happiness? Often, our desires are fleeting and do not contribute to our well-being. 4th, minimalism. Simplify your possessions. The less we have, the less we need, and the more we are truly free. By letting go of excess, we create space for what truly matters. 5. Prioritize experiences over things. Invest in relationships and personal growth rather than material possessions. True fulfillment comes from meaningful experiences, not from accumulating things. Let me share a story. I once found myself constantly buying new gadgets, believing they would make my life easier or more enjoyable. But each time the excitement quickly faded, and I was left wanting more. It wasn't until I began practicing gratitude and minimalism that I found a deeper sense of contentment. I realized that what truly mattered were the relationships I nurtured and the experiences I shared with others, not the things I owned. Chapter 5. The Art of Resilience. We have explored the 4 Stoic vices: foolishness, injustice, cowardice, and intemperance. Each of these vices, if left unchecked, leads us away from a fulfilling life. However, by recognizing and addressing them, we can transform them into virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These virtues are not just lofty ideals. They are practical tools for navigating life's challenges. Remember that wisdom is about seeing the world clearly without the distortions of fear, desire, or false impressions. Justice is about acting with empathy and fairness, understanding our interconnectedness. Courage is not the absence of fear, but taking right action despite it. Temperance is finding balance, rejecting the illusion that happiness lies in excess. Imagine if each of us worked on embodying these virtues. How might our communities change? How might our relationships deepen? How might we individually find greater peace and purpose? The practice of Stoicism is not about becoming perfect. It is about striving to be better each day. It is about progress, not perfection. Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." Let's commit to thoughts and actions that align with our highest values. The journey isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every small step we take towards virtue transforms not only our lives, but the world around us. It's about choosing to see challenges as opportunities for growth, to face fears with courage, to act with justice, and to find balance in a world that often pushes us toward excess. Chapter 6. The Role of Community. As we strive to cultivate Stoic virtues in our personal lives, we must also recognize the importance of community. Stoicism teaches us that we are all interconnected, that our actions affect those around us, and that we are part of something greater than ourselves. By nurturing our relationships and supporting each other on the path to virtue, we can create a community grounded in empathy, justice, and mutual growth. Imagine the impact of a community where people strive for wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. It would be a place of understanding, support, and resilience. Each of us has the power to contribute to this collective strength by embodying the virtues in our interactions with others. Whether it's offering a listening ear, standing up for what is right, or practicing patience, every action we take can ripple outwards and inspire others. Let's take the principles of Stoicism beyond our individual selves and into our relationships. By encouraging those around us to grow, by being a role model, and by showing compassion, we foster a supportive environment where everyone can flourish. Chapter 7. Practical Daily Practices. Incorporating Stoic principles into daily life doesn't require grand gestures. It's about the small, consistent actions we take every day. Here are some practical daily practices that can help you live a Stoic life. 1. Morning reflection. Start each day by reflecting on what you want to achieve and how you want to embody Stoic virtues. Set an intention to act with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. 2. Evening review. At the end of each day, take a few moments to review your actions. What did you do well? Where could you have done better? This practice of self-reflection helps you learn and grow each day. 3. Negative visualization. Spend a few minutes each day imagining what it would be like to lose something you value. This practice helps you appreciate what you have and prepares you for potential setbacks. 4th, mindful pause. Whenever you feel a strong emotion, pause before reacting. Ask yourself if your response is aligned with Stoic virtues. This helps you make wiser choices and prevents impulsive reactions. 5. Acts of kindness. Make it a point to perform at least one kind act each day. It could be as simple as offering a compliment or helping a colleague. Acts of kindness foster a sense of community and justice. By integrating these small practices into your routine, you can steadily cultivate the virtues of Stoicism and bring about meaningful change in your life. Chapter 8. The Journey of Continuous Growth. The journey towards Stoic virtue is not a destination, but a lifelong process of growth. There will be setbacks, moments when we fall short of our ideals. But each of these moments is an opportunity to learn and improve. The Stoics remind us that what matters is not perfection, but persistence. We grow by striving, by reflecting, and by trying again each day. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius, who, despite being the most powerful man in the world, faced immense challenges and personal losses. Yet he continued to reflect, to learn, and to strive to be better. His writings remind us that no matter our position or circumstances, we all face the same inner struggles and we all have the capacity to grow. Growth requires patience, humility, and a willingness to face discomfort. It's about embracing the journey, knowing that each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to our best selves. Let's commit to this journey of continuous growth, knowing that each day offers us a new chance to practice virtue, to learn from our experiences, and to become more resilient. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Four Stoic Vices. May the wisdom we've explored guide you toward a more resilient, virtuous, and fulfilling life. Together, let's find the strength within, embrace the courage to face our fears, and cultivate a life of true contentment and purpose. Remember, each day is an opportunity to practice these virtues, to grow, and to make a positive impact on the world around us. Let us continue to learn, grow, and support one another on this journey towards a life of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance.